Greetings friends, I'll tell you everything that you should know on the 200 level bosses coming with the patch 1.4 on Diablo 4. I'll tell you how you can find them, is your character strong enough, are the drops worth it, and also give you the new attacks. Because there's a new mechanism that you need to fully understand before you face them. I'll explain everything in that video, and if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe. I'll start this video by when and how you should face these bosses. The idea is that each of these bosses are level 200, excepted for the Beast of Ice, which is 150. Varshan, Grigoire, Duriel, Andariel, and also Lord Azir will be 200. They are very hard to kill and also have a new system combat which is very important to understand. I'll go back to that after in the video. If you want to find them, simply go at the usual location and they'll cost you 5 times more materials as usual. It will also cost you 3 Stygian stone that you can find in the pit. They'll also drop more items. I'll give you more detail on this at the end of the video. So now the big question is when you should be able to face them, because they are very hard, and in addition to first know how they work, you also want to be able to stay alive and to kill them. To help you to know when you should face this boss, I'll give you the state of my character when I faced them. Even if I lack a bit of single DPS, you'll see the average level that you should have before going at these bosses. So of course you need to be level 100 to have your glyphs at level 21, to have 70 to your resistances, and your armor during combat at 16k.5. It will give you the cap of armor against enemies level 200. You should also be able to crash Nightmare Dungeon T100 and to be in the pit around level 130-140. If possible, having a good Uber unique, for example Shaco, will also be perfect if you want to kill these bosses. Finally, don't forget that with the patch 1.4, every build will be much stronger, and you'll also have the buffies from the Season 4 if you're playing in Season. In any case, make sure to not go too fast to these bosses because you'll lose your materials if you can't kill the boss. I'll now go into the details of the attacks that you need to absolutely dodge. Because if you get hit by this particular attack, you'll receive a stack of increased damage, and as you'll see, you'll receive plenty more damage, and after 3 or 4 stacks you can be one-shot by anything from the boss. That's why it's very important to memorize them in order to face these bosses. Also, keep in mind that dodging is not the only way for you to avoid having this stack, because if you're invulnerable and get hit by this attack, you won't have a stack on your character. I'll start with Varshan, and this one is a bit easy to understand because you'll have a proc of this stack if you stand in the ground when he launches its attack. If you want, you can use, for example, the Lacerate of the Druid and the Deep Freeze on the Sorceress in order to be invulnerable, but otherwise there's no miracle. You need to fully understand the pattern of these attacks. Once you know all the patterns, you'll see that it's quite easy to have the good position and to avoid this stack. Also, when he's summoning his minions, make sure to firstly kill the one that is absorbing. Otherwise, it will buff the boss and make it even harder. For the second one, Grigoire, the first one is with the area in lightning. It will also trigger at the beginning of the fight, so make sure to avoid it. When the boss disappears, you just have to be very careful in where you want to go. The other one is a bit more tricky, because if you go into the lightning, you'll also receive a stack. The thing is that the boss will knock you back when he hits you, and you always want to be in an opposite direction where you don't have this kind of lightning walls. So it's not very hard, but you need to always keep that in mind in the position that you are fighting the boss in order to not die or get a stack on the knockback. For the Beast of Ice, the first one is when he's making an area on the ground. You want to dodge this one, and the second one is when he disappears. You must avoid the line on the ground in order to avoid the stack. There are also 2 things that you need to know about this boss. The first one is that you have 4 lives, so make sure to not die too much against him. It's the only one among the bosses because it's a Nightmare Dungeon, so for the other one you can try them as much as you want. And the second thing is that its level is 150, so he's much easier than the other one, level 200. For Lord Azir, this one is not very hard. You have 2 attacks, but they can be easily avoided. The first one, he will use its wings in order to attack in front of him, so just make sure to be behind the boss, and the second one, he'll be charging his attack for 2-3 seconds, so you have plenty of time to be behind or on the side of the boss. Otherwise, everything left is not very hard. Now for Duriel, this one is very tricky and you need first to fully understand how it works, but then also to practice in order to dodge its attacks. The first one, it will throw plenty of poison projectiles and you want to be behind the boss, but it will also turn before launching its attack, making it very hard to avoid. The second thing about this first attack is that when he unburrows, he will also trigger this attack automatically. You'll have the first one at the beginning, but also during the fight when he disappears and then unburrow. So make sure to be ready to dodge when you see that the boss is not here. For the second attack, it's much easier. When you see a circle area on the ground, you want to get out of here and not being hit by this attack. It's quite easy to dodge, but the thing is that it's not very easy to see. So just be ready for it, and when you see it, make sure to dodge. For Andariel, you have two attacks, the first one when she dashes and releases poison bolts, and the second one a kind of seal area of damage that you also want to dodge. As the boss is quite new, I made a full video so that you have everything that you need on this boss, and you have the link just below the video. I'll finish this video with the drops, and is it worth it to face them at level 200. Keep in mind that you have the achievements, and also the first time that you kill a 200 level boss, you'll have a spark in order to craft an Uber unique, but otherwise the drops are not worth it. As you see, it's a bit hard to kill them, and the amount of drops is not that high. Also, it's in the PTR, so the drops that I show you are twice the amount that you should have on the game, and in the end it will be better to farm 5 Duriels level 100 than 1 Duriel level 200. So I hope that they will fix it before the release and make this event worth it. There's also something that you need to understand about the materials, because for example, Beast of Ice only gives a doll at Andariel at level 150, Varshan does not give anything at level 200, and Lord Desir only gives 2 materials at level 200. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you'll have everything that you need to face these bosses level 200, and as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments.